Good morning, everybody. I'm going to just say right up front, please forgive me. I'm having a very difficult time speaking this morning. I don't know what's going on, so please bear with me. As you guys know, I really appreciate you watching all these videos and hanging out and commenting and all that good stuff. So if you have any questions after this is all done, leave a comment, send me an email. I get back to everybody really quick. I'm happy to help with anything I can. If you're new here, you can click the link above and check out my other cross-track videos. Today specifically is going to be about installing what is in this box. And if you watched my last video at the very end of the Gardner Canyon one, I talked about the fact that I just ordered some mods for the Crosstrek. So this video and the next one are going to be about those two things and installing them. So what is in the big box? Well, if you've been here, you know that from the very beginning, probably about 9 or 10 months ago, I've been talking about getting the LPAventure front small brush guard. And that is indeed what is in there. I'm super excited to finally get this thing. And I also went ahead and ordered the skid plate for the front, which is sideways down there. You can't really see it. I had to turn it because the sun was really reflective. So the first video I'm going to do is going to be installing the front brush guard, and the second video will be on the skid plate. So I want to talk a little bit real quick about why I chose this specific front bar and LPAventure and why I chose this skid plate, and then how my experience has been with them so far. If you want to just skip ahead and get right into the install stuff, you can follow this timestamp right here, and that'll take you forward and you can watch how that goes. Doesn't look like it's going to be that difficult, but it's me, so you never know. Really the big area that the Crosstrek is kind of let down off-road is the approach angle and departure angles. And we kind of have a long nose on the Crosstrek. And as you've seen in my videos over the last months being off-road, is I tend to scrape that front end significantly, especially in roads that kind of do this stuff. And we have a lot of washes that do this. So that nose just inadvertently gets scraped. And you've seen that I've scraped it, I've dented it, and I knocked a fog light cover off-road. That is what led me on my quest to get a front bar, and I wanted something that would cover that whole front plastic area and just give it a little extra protection. Really, probably the best thing to do would be to lift the vehicle, but I really didn't want to change the driving dynamics of the car to that extent, at least initially. At this point, I am leaning heavily towards getting a lift also, but I want to do a little bit more research still on how it changes how the car drives. In my search for a front bar, LPAventure was the only company that I found that actually has a bar that goes all the way across. There are plenty of brush guards that kind of just cover the middle part, which look great. You can mount lights on them, which is cool, but I wanted something that actually specifically protected that front, and LPAventure is the only one. The other reason I chose their front bar is because I've also wanted to get a skid plate, and LPAventure's skid plate is the only one that I know of that actually mounts to their front bar as well. All the other skid plates actually mount to the stock mounting location, which is fine, and I'm not putting the other skid plates down. To me, it just seems like a better idea to have a more solid mounting point like a front bar. You know, again, not putting any other skid plates down, that's not my point. This is just the reasoning why I went with LPAventure's products. As far as dealing with LPAventure, from the ordering process to them following up with things, to a shipping problem I had, not their fault. They've been fantastic. Cannot tell you enough how highly I recommend them for their products and their customer service. I'm gonna get this front bar out of the box, and then we're gonna look at it. I have not even taken it out yet. There are two versions you can order from them. You can order it bare metal and have it powder coated or painted to whatever colors you want. I decided to go with powder coated black from them, and the difference in price I wanna say is like $150, $175. I'll put that down here just so you guys know. All right, let's do it. Let's get started. Enough blabbing, and let's get on it. Thanks again for watching. Let's dig into this box and see what we got here. Hey, cool toys. Fun. Thanks, LPAventure, for the pool toys. That's awesome. Okay. So this is a bar. Very cool. All right. here she is. Powder coating's fantastic. The welds look awesome. Really nice. And then this piece here, this is something extra that I decided to go with. This little metal plate also, and they've already attached it for me, which I thought was really cool. And I don't know if you can see this, but it has their little logo engraved there, which looks awesome. Super cool. Hey, there's Chloe. These are obviously the light mounting points. You can get a shot at the welds, super clean. And I believe this is where the skid plate mounts. I have to double check that, but I think that's correct. So, cool. All right, so that's saying 26.1 pounds. I do get to use my knife. Give you these little badges that you can use. I got a couple of those with the skid plate as well. Looks like directions. And then the mounting hardware. These are the two struts that attach to the frame, and then just the other little bolts. So I'm gonna go put the car up on jack stands, and we'll get this party started. All right, so basically I just kind of laid everything out that we need on the table. These are the struts that came with the package, the little bolts. You need a 14 millimeter wrench, 12. You need a 14 and a 12 socket, obviously a ratchet, and some needle nose or long nose pliers they call them. In the bag I thought they were the instructions, but actually it's just kind of the warranty information and then product warnings. They're little stick-ons that they gave us, and so I printed the directions offline. The directions actually start off with the skid plate. If you're gonna keep the original skid plate and just do the front bar, you actually have to trim a couple spots on the skid plate so that the struts and then one other section can attach to the car. We're not going to worry about that, so we're going to go right into removing the plastic skid plate. All right, I wanted to stop real quick during the video here and insert something in just to clarify a few things. When I filmed this video, I filmed it alongside doing the front bar and the skid plate together, and I did not have skid plate specific instructions. So there was a little point of confusion that I realized when I finished everything up. The instructions that I did have for specifically for the front bar, and if you're installing LPAventure's front bar without their skid plate, what you do first is you cut the plastic splash guard in the spaces that I showed you. You then pull it off, do a few other things, install the struts, pull those side panels off, and then you put the splash guard back on, and then you put the bar on. So my thought process was, not knowing for sure, was that why would I mess with that plastic splash guard, cutting it, doing all those things when I'm gonna put a skid plate on? So I actually just pulled that off, left it off, then installed the skid plate. So I have an email into LPAventure right now to determine if that's okay or if it's better to go ahead and use that splash guard along with the skid plate. So I will probably not have an answer by the end of this video for you, but I will put it in the comments or I will put it in the description once I get it, which will probably be Monday. And if not there, it'll be in my skid plate video for sure, which will probably be posted probably Monday or Tuesday. So hopefully that helps if you're confused, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can with that information. Thanks. We're at the front of the car. We're going to take off the skid plate. So you got these little annoying push pin guys to remove. Looks like there's 4 of those in the front, 2 12 millimeter bolts that we're going to take off. And then there's also a push pin over here. And so I'm assuming there's one on the other side as well. If you're not familiar with these little guys, you just kind of twist and they come right out. Yep, there's another one hidden right up here. And just, if you've been off-road at all like I am, there's going to be a lot of dirt and stuff falling out on you, so make sure you have eye protection. 2 12 millimeter bolts, one there and one here, and that's more towards the front. So the two little guys in the back look like that. And then these were the two that were kind of towards the front. Look like this. I missed one other, maybe two other push pins. There's one over here that you gotta remove. Maybe that's everything. Nope. I lied again. There is one more way up there, and I'm assuming, let's see, on the other side is there. There is another high one on this side. Okay. So there are actually a total of, I think it was 8 of those pins and the 4 bolts, but pretty straightforward. Just watch the dirt because that was fun. I'll give you a quick look as to what it looks like under here. Shiny. All right, let's see if we can get this front bar on. We got to get the struts attached, and I got to figure out where that goes, but I go up in here somewhere. The next step is to remove this bolt, and this is on the, it's hard to tell under here. If you can't tell, it's the passenger side of the car. Just so you know, this is actually a 10. So after removing this bolt, you actually have to pull these 2 guys as well, because you kind of want this out of the way, it looks like from the instructions. All right. And so you want this out of the way, I think, to put the strut in, but it's very difficult to see where the strut goes still, so I will get back to you shortly. So we are over here on the driver's side of the car, and I just spent about an hour trying to bolt, or trying to use the bolt hole that my light is on right now. That is incorrect. That is the one that is outside the most. It's the one in there that you want to use, and it's a little bit hard to tell from the photos. Initially, I put both struts on, and the angles weren't lining up, and it was because I just was in the wrong frame hole. So, anyway, we're all good now. So I'm going to do the other side, and then we'll bolt this thing on. So we're on the passenger side now. This, for future reference, is the wrong bolt. That one down there is the correct bolt. It's a little bit of a pain to get to, but if you use a deep socket, you can get to it. So this is the driver's side in the correct position. I didn't tighten it all the way yet because I want to test the bar real quick, getting it connected. So that, again, driver's side, correct position. Passenger side, correct position. Hopefully you can see that. All right, so let's try to put the bar on here and see what happens. It's really helpful when you have the struts in the correct hole up in the frame. So I got it just test fit real quick. I still got to tighten these little plastic guys down and tighten the struts down completely, but I just want to make sure this time I did it right. So there you go. I'm going to do that and we'll get back. So now we just need to reconnect this guy, and then the, let's see, where were they? There's a couple push pin guys that you got to put back in. So I will do that on both sides. I won't bore you with all the video of it, but just wanted to show you the next step. You got to leave these loose so that, at least I did, so I could tighten these up once I made sure that it all fit. This is still loose until I get everything kind of snugged up in the back. All right, one of the things that I forgot to mention is you have to remove these 2 bolts back here. They are 14s. And I should have done it before I put this bar on. It would have been a little bit easier, but I was too concerned after screwing up for so long, putting that strut in the wrong spot. All right, these guys are pretty tight, so I got my bigger socket. Yeah, that's better. That little guy wasn't going to do it. And then use the other 2 bolts that came with the hardware and bolt this guy up. Okay, beauty. That is the bar installed. So I'll try to give you the best view I can of this here. So there's the bar, and there's that cool little plate with their name tag on it. It wraps around the side for protection. And you'll hear some of my old scars. I mean, this is the stuff, and like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is the main reason why I wanted to get this guy. Here's your light mounting points. You got 4 of them. But yeah, this will do a nice job of protecting everything. And that thing's really cool. All right, guys, so we're all finished up with the bar. So that's going to be the end of this video. The only hard part about this is figuring out which bolt you're supposed to remove from the frame, which I removed the wrong one, which became very apparent when I tried to match up the bar to the angles of the struts coming down. The other thing that's kind of a pain is just getting that bolt off the frame, because it's real tight in there, and you do need a deep socket for that. And then when by yourself, trying to get the bar lifted up so that you can get those bolts in the front mounting spots, but it's doable. Anyway, that's going to be it for the front bar. So I'm going to move on to the skid plate now, and that'll be in the second video. So thanks much for watching this. You guys have questions, let me know, and let's move on to the next one.